Welcome to a new video. Let's begin. Our client requests that there be a feature to create a client with their bank account and card associated with this. For this, WorkWithPlus for Web offers the Wizards functionalities. Wizards are a feature that allows you to separate a task into several steps. For each step, WorkWithPlus generates web components for us. Let's create a wizard. For this, we are going to create a new web panel. So we press Ctrl-N and select Web Panel. And this will be called Create Person, and we click on the Create button. We save it. We will go to the Patterns tab. In the Template selector, we are going to look for the Wizard State in Web Components category. We click here. In this one, we can see that we have different wizard designs. For example, vertical wizard, arrow wizard, line wizard, among others. In this example, we are going to use the vertical wizard. When we do this, it will show us that the wizard editor works exactly the same as the transactions editor. To this, we are going to add the necessary steps. Particularly, we are going to create these steps. One step of information from the person. Another step for account information. One step to add the user's card. A summary step. And finally, a step that indicates that all tasks have been completed. For this, we are going to start with the person's data. We must click on the New Object button, which is next to the little screw, and we select Wizard Step. The template selector will open with the templates available for the steps. We have a Welcome step, a Completed step, one to select data from a grid, others to add data from a grid, another for flat data. In this case, we will select this one. We are going to click on Apply and Apply again. We must place a code and a title. From code, we will add person data, and from title, the same. In this particular one, within the General Information panel, we must right-click. Select Add and Variable Based On. And we will select the person transaction to create the variables based on the person business component. In the next window, we will be asked which attributes are necessary on our screen. For this case, we will select some that will be person first name, also person last name, person gender, person birth date, country ID, and city ID. We press OK. And if you have added our variables. In the person first name, person last name, and person birth date variables, we will place them as required, with the is required property. We have to set them to true, and the following variables will remain as required. Let's place the country ID and city ID attributes as develop combo. We select both. We click Custom. And here we must place Develop Combo. And here both attributes were left as Develop Combo. For the second to be filtered with what we have selected in the first, we must set the Load Data Dynamically property to True. And here we find the property, and as we said, we set it to True. We then want the combo to be filtered by the Country ID attribute. Therefore, we must place condition dynamic attributes or variables in this property, and here we place the variable person.countryID. And we place this condition. We click on OK. And our condition has also been placed. And in the conditional dynamic controls property, we will place the following code. We click on OK, and our condition will remain applied. Now we will add a new step. We do the same procedure that we have done previously. We will select the same template. We select Apply. And apply here too. And our new step has been generated for us. and in this one, we will place the account code and the account title as well. In this case, we will add variables based on account. So we right-click on General Information and add variable based on the transaction account. In this case, we will only use two attributes, which will be Bank ID and Currency ID. And we will place both as Develop Combo. We will load the first combo with the bank's information. Therefore, we will make the following configurations. We will add title and image to style. Item value we will load with Bank ID. We click on the three dots and we will place the Bank ID attribute. We will load item description with bank name, and finally, item description 2, we will load with bank logo. In the case of Currency ID, we will load it with the following information. We will leave the style with what it is, but we will leave the item value with Currency ID. And in item description, we will place the description, Currency description, and we will leave control type as extended suggest. Now we will add a new step to add the user cards. For this, we are going to create a step based on the template. Add grid items with the name cards. Let's right-click on the grid. Select SDT, and we are going to select the SDT cards. We are going to click OK, so these are added. For the variables added to the grid, we are going to set the read-only property to false, so that they can be editable. And in this way, the grid variables are editable. We are going to put the following mask on the card numbers variable. Lastly, we will add a new step using the summary template, and it will be called Wizard Summary. Let's add the title and code. Finally, we will create another step. This will be based on the complete template to indicate that the person has been created correctly, and we will save the changes made so far. If we go to each Explorer and look under the Create Person instance, we can see what WorkWithPlus generated for us, and here we have all the steps created. For each step, we have created a web component where we can add our own logic to validate the information entered in said step. It also generated an SDT called Create Person Data for us. In this, we can see all the variables that we have defined in the steps. Automatically, in each step, a variable called Wizard Data will be generated, in which WorkWithPlus saves the state and variables of previous steps. So if we need to obtain another value entered by another step, we can obtain it through this variable. To finish our wizard, we need to add code to save our person with their respective bank accounts and cards. First, we are going to add some lines that we are missing in the card step. We are going to open the Create Person Cards web component, go to the events, and look for the Do and Insert event. We add this line so that when the user clicks Add, a new line is added to the grid. This is the code that we must add to do what we have mentioned. Now we will go to Create Person and go to the Wizard Summary step. Then, we will open the Person Wizard Summary step, and in the events we will place the following code so that the data is saved in the database. We will go to the Enter event, and we will place the following code. If you have any problems loading this code, you must ensure that the card item variable has this property loaded. because sometimes as the type of variable is changed, it can then give us this error. Now let's test our wizard. Here we can see everything that WorkWithPlus has applied in our application. We can see that in our panel we can add the data and click on the Next button. Since we have not placed the first attribute, which is person first name, it tells us that we have to complete it, since it is a required attribute. We complete it and click on the Next button. And we have moved on to the second step. Now we load bank account details. We apply the currency ID. Let's input dollars in this case. And we click on the Next button. This is what happens to the third step. We add a credit card, and it will show us the step to load the number, if it is credit, debit, or if it is Visa or MasterCard. We will load the number on our card. In this case, we are going to put, for example, 11. As a random number for this case, we say that it is a debit card and that it is from Visa. We continue. And here you see the summary of all the data that we have loaded. Clicking Next will save our data to the database. And here we see that we have reached the last step of our wizard, and it tells us that the data we previously loaded has been saved correctly. We invite you to subscribe to our channels so that you are always up to date of our upcoming videos. See you soon.